today is about SolCypher. We did a little overview before on what they're doing. It's a trading bot, AI-powered trading bot, copy trader, sniper, all of the above. They're doing a lot. We got Joseph on with us. We got AD on. We're excited to have you guys talk about all things SolCypher today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Hey, you guys.
Happy to answer any questions you guys might have. I know you guys were looking at the tokenomics briefly, so whatever you guys want to start with, I can answer any technical questions and we can go from there.
Yeah, let me pull up the website just so I have that on screen. And
I shared it.
oh, perfect.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I mean, how we typically always start this is just like we want to get to know you guys a little bit before anything, your backgrounds, your stories, how you got into AI, how you got into coding. So can you give us a quick brief history on yourselves real quick, guys?
So me personally, I've been developing since I was 10 years old. I used to play a lot of like Counter-Strike or just video games, and naturally being on the computer all the time, I picked up programming. Kind of started with like when I was in grade school, my mom would lock me out of the desktop, so I started to figure out ways to get into it without knowing the password, and then one thing led to another. I started programming, so I've been programming now for 20 years. But this is my first big Web3 project. It was mostly Web2 before this, and I've been in crypto since 2015, I'd say. So I told Joseph about Bitcoin when it was like at $1,000. I just kind of fell in love with it. I heard about it when it was at pennies, like just playing video games. You'd hear friends in voice chat say like, "Oh, Bitcoin, Bitcoin," but like I was too young to grasp the economics of what it was. And once I got older, I looked at the technology, I looked at the tokenomics of it, and I knew that this thing was just anti-inflationary, so it was going to blow. So I kind of got into crypto then. We did a couple of projects like based around APIs that would communicate with like central exchanges. So we kind of tried automated perp trading back in like 2016, but those didn't really take off. And the whole 2016 crash plus the whole ICO phase kind of left a sour taste in everybody's mouth around trading crypto at the time anyways. So a year ago we started getting into the space again. I had built a pretty cool analytics tool, and that was like the very early version of SolCypher. I told Joseph about it, and then once the Trump coin happened, the Trump coin launch, he kind of got his interest peaked again, and he asked if I still had that analytical tool, and then it just kind of slowly evolved into what SolCypher is today, just by taking requests from our users and the community that was using it. They wanted a trading bot to go with the analytic tool that we had built, which was pretty much AI-driven signals with an AI agent. And yeah, that's where we got to today. But today it's more of we're getting away from the whole AI thing because we kind of pivoted. We noticed that at one point people were loving the trading league aspect or the competition aspect of SolCypher a lot more. So now even our analytics or our signals are based off of our best alpha callers that use SolCypher. So it's not as much AI. It's more social trading now, and kind of competitions. We're going to be running a lot of leagues on it. But I can let Joey go now too.
Hey guys, thank you guys for inviting us. Yeah, so overall, my background, I've been an entrepreneur since 24. I've actually built multiple seven-figure businesses, and right now I actually run a credit card processing company that I've been involved with. I have real estate here in Miami, but funny enough, I knew nothing about the actual MemeCoin world until probably about November of last year, when I first bought my first actual MemeCoin. Funny enough, AD actually told me about crypto early on in 2015. And, for me, like, just being somebody that is more like a risk taker, I just ended up dropping, a good amount of money into Bitcoin at that time and kind of never looked back at that point. I was more of an investor, buying coins, things of that nature. But
Wait, when was this?
In 2015.
2015 first Bitcoin purchase. That's awesome.
Yeah. I was also in Toronto at the time, so I was like in some of those meetups, and I was really like interested about crypto and where it was going. I actually helped launch some ICO projects because of my banking background and payouts and things of that nature. So overall, I was very intrigued, and so I just kept, purchasing crypto. Just being a regular investor, not really a trader. But November of last year, ended up buying one of my first meme coins. I didn't even know how to even get Solana at the time. I had to go on YouTube and find, a Phantom wallet at that time. So funny enough, I ended up buying this coin and ended up doing really well on it. And I started thinking like, man, like, what if we could find these calls early? And that's when it clicked. I was like, oh yeah, AD told me about the thing that he had. Let me hit him up again. And it was funny enough, I was actually still in that community with that coin. And overall, like I started talking about like, what we're, trying to do and all this kind of stuff. And then everybody was like, hey, when are you gonna build that? When are you gonna do this? Like, so I started to see like maybe there's something here, with this kind of project. And we really got to do a lot of testing and things of that nature. But overall, it was a great, experience. And I really kind of fell in love with the whole culture of meme coins and like trenching. And I met really cool people like in different groups, and like it was just a very different experience than just being a regular investor in the crypto space. Just going to conferences and things of that nature. So overall, it's been an amazing experience, being able to be a part of this and see it grow from just being a little analytical tool to what it is today. So I think it's been an amazing journey, for the last 6 months.
So you have a background in, or you said you're an entrepreneur. You said you own some properties in Miami, I think you said, and you also mentioned you have this credit card processing business. How does running a Web3 business stack up to Web2 businesses and traditional businesses? Obviously, the culture is really different. That's something you mentioned. Just what are the pros and cons? Can you give us some contrast there?
Yeah, so Web 2 is a lot different than I think of a Web 3 business, to be honest. Because I don't know that you're dealing with a different type of mindset of individuals that maybe are trying to use this kind of product compared to a traditional mom and pop or a business owner that is doing maybe regular, sales of a product or a service. And so, more B2B, I would think in the Web 2 space, for me, like that's where most of, my business background is, B2B. So business to business, it's a very easy to thrive in. It's very easy, I would say, to market in because you understand the customer demographic. But Web3 is a lot different because I think it's just different individuals that you're trying to connect with. Also, I think the demographic might be a lot younger than myself. Like I'm a little bit older even than AD. And so the idea of like me being an entrepreneur for the last, 20 something years, bringing myself down to like this Web3 culture was almost like a big shock for me as well, because like, I'm going to these conferences, in New York and Toronto, Token, all these different places. And like, I see people that are like maybe 10, 15 years younger than me. And so it's like a very different type of connection. In the Web 2 space, it's a lot different because individuals are already wanting your service. They want, I mean, for me, I feel like there's lots competition in the Web 2 space because, like, if you have a product or a service that you understand your brand, it's very easy to go out and sell it. Web 3, there's a lot of different moving parts, it seems like. And so I think we've learned that along the way as well, is that, you can't really
And
market the regular
trends
way.
shift like crazy fast. Like what's hot today might not be tomorrow. Like
And it
whatever
changes
launch,
like within 24 hours. Yeah.
yeah.
Like credit card processing, for example, is like, it's very normal. Like, it doesn't change. Like it's very easy to build that kind of business and
Not
to
just
bring
that,
on the
but it
brand.
also depends on like, are you in a bear market? Are you in a bull market? Is there new retail coming in that will try your product? Because if you're trying to get user base by taking it from other existing products, like that's hard in crypto. Like that's why the meme space is what it is, because once these guys attach to something, it's like a cult like following. So we know that's a big like hassle for us, or like a big mountain to climb, but we have some pretty crazy strategies that we're going to employ in the next 2 weeks to basically effectively tackle it.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I think you make a great point. You mentioned earlier you're kind of actually shifting away from that AI to do more of a a social
Yeah,
trading. Well, and I think there's a lot of credence there because the best founders, especially in a fast moving space like crypto or AI, whatever it might be, nothing is guaranteed. So you have to change. You have to be able to adapt and move on to
100%.
what's working. So like,
And
it says a lot about your team.
the thing was that at the time we thought of it from a marketing's perspective, like, hey, let's make an agent that automatically curates these signals. And that seemed great for marketing because we were in that AI craze. But the longer it ran, the more I started to realize that, like, I don't like its hit rate. Like, I'm a trencher myself, so the first version that I built of this was so that I could get notified for certain launches early. Like, you have to be some sort of a degenerate to even know how to build something like this. So I know what it's like, and 35% to 40% hit rate, which is the best hit rate you're ever going to get with an agent, is not going to cut it for somebody that wants to use this every day. So that's where the Alpha League came in. We have we call it a KOL League, and we do a monthly cash prize to the 3 best callers. And what that is
And
we
real quick,
have,
AD, I'm not sure if you want, but you can pull up your screen and show us visuals of this too. If you have like a leaderboard or something you want to kind of
yeah, let
pair with this
me,
conversation.
how do I share? Oh, share screen. So we'll do,
Yeah, and as you're talking, like feel free to walk through the platform.
yeah,
And
you guys can see this, right?
yeah, perfect.
Yep.
Okay, sweet. So this is like the KOL League. And basically, how it works is we have a Feigns like bot where, if you're in Telegram and you just paste a token address, it replies back to you with a bunch of analytics about the token. Like, is it bundled? How many snipers are still in it? How much profit are they up by? So that you can make a educated decision on the risk of that token that somebody's pasting. So just like Feigns, but we've actually created a league around it, and then we have a trading bot that lets you trade these calls. And there's a built-in tipping function. So if I'm an alpha caller, let's say Rui calls, let's say he just pastes a token in his group right now that has SolCypher installed. Um, Anybody that buys off of that notification, he'll get tipped from trading fees. 25% of the trading fees will go to the person that first called that token in that group. So it's a built-in tipping function. It's a way for guys that have alpha to make money inside Telegram just by pasting token addresses. And then it actually tracks all of your calls, your success rates, your total PNL. And if I'm logged in with my Telegram bot, I can actually just hit follow. And anytime this guy makes a call by pasting an address in a Telegram, then I will automatically buy it, and it will automatically sell based on my take profit settings. So some of these guys, like this guy's got 76 followers. So basically, anytime he pastes a call, he's low volume, so he doesn't make a lot of calls, but it seems like he's got an 80% success rate. So this is the kind of stuff I started to see, that, like, hey, the top 25 callers are almost all above 60%, which is a profitable strategy if your risk management is set up properly. And that's a lot better than the 35% that an agent is going to give you. I've never seen an AI agent that can trench successfully over 50%. It just doesn't exist. So this is where we pivoted. We're like, okay, this is probably what we should lean into more. The Telegram groups that install SolCypher love it. It creates a competition for them. And then, like I said, there's also a cash prize, which isn't too big, but we actually have like 4 to 5 other leagues that are going to be launching soon. I can't give too much info on those, but let's just say that our goal is for this to be like the ESPN or the the league of Solana trading, like of degen trading. We want to introduce streams, make it competitive, maybe where callers are going up against each other, battling it out for like the top prize. And for this to happen successfully, those top prizes are going to have to be very big. And that's kind of our plan of attack. And again, the trading bot users is how we monetize it, but they can follow and auto trade anything that these callers or traders are trading. Because aside from an alpha league, like our own alpha league, there's also the Meteorite alpha league that they're running using SolCypher, and they're actually doing $1,000 a week to the best alpha caller. So we're gonna have another tab here for them, and it's just gonna be basically a few different leagues with different divisions, and there will be promotions and relegations for traders. So Alpha League and Trading League, that's going to be coming to SolCypher, and the cash prizes are going to be pretty significant.
I was gonna say also, AD. I think the greatest part about the league is like the camaraderie that you get within these different Telegram groups. Like that's kind of like how I fell in love with the whole trenching aspect, is being a part of an early stage coin and then getting to know people. And we're talking about different coins, you know, what this is doing, what this person posted this, you know, like, oh, Kanye followed this, you know, like everybody's like in there just talking. And so like the one thing I've learned about this whole space very early on is that the more people that you get connected to and find out information, you know, you're a lot quicker than other people. You can get into some of these coins or some of these projects pretty early on just because somebody else might be in another group or this thing. And so having this league kind of thing is like almost even like, you know, competitive camaraderie where everybody's working together. So it's really fun to see like how it kind of like organically has gone into like lots of different groups. And you know, it's funny. We even set up another group the other day, and they see that a lot of their people now are starting to buy more of their token because like it's just a fun kind of a arena to be in where like everybody is helping everybody win. And so that was kind of like my goal when I was thinking about the whole concept as well. When we were talking about this concept, is that how do we help people like that are like new like myself? Like I feel
Yeah,
like I'm still
especially
new.
6 months ago, there was a lot of people coming into crypto that had never tried it before and they didn't know what a bundle was. They didn't know what, um, they didn't know how anything worked really. Like they almost didn't know how to read liquidity because they look at a market cap and we tell them like, hey, dude, that thing's got like 10,000 in liquidity. It's just a scam pool, you know? So we noticed that understanding these things and being in a group of people that can help you learn these things was very beneficial to people that were early on in their journey. So, and Joseph was one of those people. Like he's learned everything that he knows about trenching, which to this point, like he actually knows a considerable amount. I'd consider him a degen myself, but he's learned a lot of this stuff just by trading in the trench groups that we've created and powered by SolCypher.
Yeah, that's awesome. If Chill, you had a thought?
Yeah, real quick. I actually remember there was a similar project that kind of did something similar to what you guys are doing. Um, but either way, the potential here is actually pretty decent because um, I remember basically you guys are allowing these kind of I like to call them underground chads. Like they're not influencers that kind of like use their audience as like exit liquidity. They're actually like real traders that have like a
Yeah.
process behind what they do. And for them to kind of get this recognition and through like the tipping system and other ways, I think that's going to be really important and can create connections and essentially can create an entire different entirely different demographic of traders, right? Like where you have, because I view on-chain trading as being a social sport. So all the things you see like being done in like leagues like the NBA or the NFL, where athletes can get sponsors, or you kind of see the same thing going on with streamers and esports and tournaments and things. I think that's where this is headed, and I think you guys can potentially be a really good way of like underpinning this entire kind of sector that we're seeing as far as like the sports side or the competitive side of on-chain trading. Is that
Yeah,
kind of what you guys are
uh,
looking to be long term, or?
exactly. That's the grand vision. It's something that we realized maybe a month and a half ago, but ever since we realized it, we really started to pivot our whole thought process around this, and so far it's worked great. Like even for Meteorite Collective, for example, like they've found great success in having a league like this run on SolCypher. So I think there's going to be a lot of different types of leagues that we can run for a lot of different types of communities, or even official leagues that are run by SolCypher. So yeah, I think that's where we're headed. We're looking at this to be like the go-to place for you to basically. So in esports, let's say, like Counter-Strike, if somebody says they're good, you're gonna want to see their rank, right? Or you're gonna want to see their statistics page. There's leagues in Counter-Strike like ESEA or Face It, etc. So you can go on those websites and see the person's stats and get a detailed view on how good of a gamer he is. So we want to do the same thing with crypto, where there's leagues, there's people that win those leagues, there's stats, and you have somewhere to go to see how good of a trader somebody is. Because in this space, a lot of people say that they have good alpha or they're good traders, and then they just end up being scams. So that was another big pain point that we wanted to solve in the space.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like the scam individuals. Like, there's a lot of people out there that post a lot of stuff that they're probably already in, and they're just waiting to, get more liquidity into those projects. So they post them to their Telegram groups of 10, 20, 30,000 people. And then, like people like myself that was new, like I'm like, oh,
there's no accountability. Like
I need to get into this, like I have no clue of like, what to look for. Like if, for example, like if it was Forex, I can go and look at like FX Blue or something of that nature and see, who these individuals are. There's nothing like that in crypto. So like our concept is like really try to legitimize this to make it more like a sport, or like very, like people that have skills, not like it's a gambling thing. A lot of people look at this trenching thing as a gambling thing. We're trying to change that mindset of like, this is not gambling. Like you could actually really get good at this, and you can actually really make money at this, and following the right people, being a part of the right, let's say, trench groups, seeing those individuals that like don't really they're not in it to like, trying to make a buck on somebody. They're really in it to like for the actual sport of it, the actual skill of the game. It's a different way of thinking, from a standpoint of, trenching.
Absolutely. 100%. Now, I've always resonated very deeply with a vision like this. And to be honest, I didn't know before this interview that like this was kind of the direction you guys were moving in. But I just remembered, a project from a long time ago, a few years back, that kind of tried to do something similar. And I've always loved the idea because it created some sort of accountability, and it created, it created a level of transparency on chain that we haven't seen from the trader side. Like you have these traders that, maybe they build a seemingly good P&L from a wallet to get copy traders and basically farm copy traders, or maybe they're just insiders and they're involved in bundles, or
that's the cool thing about this is like this guy's just pasting a token address, so he can't even he can't sell on you, because it's not like you're copy trading his buy, you're copy trading his alpha call basically, and he has incentive to make good calls. And he's also getting revenue for making good calls. He's getting revenue kickbacks.
So let's say I'm Kish, I'm watching this show, and I'm like, you know what? I'm a good caller. How can I get SolCypher into my Telegram bot or my Telegram group to record my calls and push those out?
So the easiest way is there's a SolCypher Degens group that already has everything installed. You can just jump in there and start trenching with those guys. I think they're almost at like 1,000 members right now. There's other trench groups, obviously, that also employ it. They might not be as popular as our main one, or some of them might even have more subscribers than or members than our group, but they could be in places like Europe, etc. So, but if you did want to install it in your own group, then you just go on the website, you open the call bot link on the call bot portion of the website. It takes you to the bot. You add that bot to your group. make it an admin, and then you run the start call bot command. So there's a command preset that you just click, and it'll start monitoring for when somebody pastes the token address. So in like 3 steps, you could have it installed in a group and tracking all the calls in your group.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Okay, cool. I see this tweet I have pulled up, and I kind of paused over it because I wanted to get your take on it. SolCypher has paid out 16,000 in fee revenue sharing to Cypher stakers, and with the current growth trajectory, the number will only climb. SolCypher is the people's trading bot. The growth is looking really good here. I also saw Meteora or the Meteorite Collective posted something about this. Can you tell us, is there like some sort of 100% flywheel, or what kind of flywheel do you guys have going on here?
Yeah, so it's 100% if you, so like I said, there's the tipping mechanism. So everything left after tipping these alpha callers, which is still a considerable amount, 100% of what's left in the fee wallet gets paid out and dispersed weekly to Cypher stakers. The teams locked 35% of their supply. So basically, we kept 35% of the supply so that we could stake it and earn a portion of the revenue that we're generating to obviously further develop, run this, and that at the end of the day, that's why we're doing it. But there is another up to 70% or 65% that the community can buy and stake, and if they have it staked, they get a portion of the revenue relative to their stake. So let's say 100% of the supply is staked, 65% of the supply or 65% of the fees will go out to people that are not part of the team. So basically 35 is reserved for the team, and then the other 65% is for anybody that buys and stakes Cypher. So right now, including the 35% of the team's supply, there's 50% staked or locked. So that 100% of the fees go to 50% of the holders right now with that math.
So basically, you guys are doing the hyperliquid for social
Trading
trading.
bot. Yeah. Now,
Yep.
obviously, we don't have the amount of users that somebody like Trojan has, but if we did get there and people realized the incentives of SolCypher, we would be paying out about 200,000 US dollars a day if we were doing the volume, let's say, that Trojan is doing. So that's where this token gets exponentially crazy, because if you believe in the team and you think that we will get to that user base, then you know that's a crazy amount of staking revenue that will go out daily. And I can't speak to what it'll do to the price action, but I think if we get to those levels, it will do crazy things.
Okay, this gives me a couple questions to pivot to. Number one, I would say, is we're seeing this direction of ICM kind of go down, like we need equity tied to a token. And so you guys basically have that in a sense via a 100% flywheel or mechanism. Let's say legalities kind of become more transparent and you can somehow tokenize this equity, kind of like what you're doing now. Is that something that you would be open to, or you're just going to stick with the 100% flywheel? It's one and the same ultimately, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think it accomplishes the same goal, and we are a Web3 company, so we wanted our way of you having a piece of the company to be on chain, and that was through having a Solana token that has a 100% flywheel. So yeah, I think it does that pretty well already, so I wouldn't change it. But in my opinion, the biggest utility that a token can have is being used as a stock, whether it be a dividend paying stock or not. Like in this case, that's up to the tokenomics of each person that launches a token. But yeah, I think that we already accomplished that to the aspect that I wanted to, unless you mean like where there's like a decentralized way of making decisions for the future of the actual company.
No, I think you answered my question perfectly too. But it also kind of gives me a segue into how many people are actually staking out of the percentage of, holders. How many people are actually utilizing this to make some of this
15, so
profit?
15% of that 100% is being staked by people that are not a part of the team, and then 35% the team's locked, and we consider that staked as well. So 50% is off, but off the market, but 15% of the 1 billion supply is being staked by actual users or token holders.
So like roughly 65% total. Am I understanding that? Or it's
50% total.
35? Okay, so you're
50% total,
35
just-
plus 15.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Okay, yeah, cool. That makes sense. And is there like let's say I want to unlock my tokens and sell into the market. Obviously, staking is really beneficial for those that don't know for just like reducing sell pressure, right? Those tokens are ultimately out, not available to be sold. Is there a like a unbonding period if I wanted to take off my stake?
Yeah, I think it's 7 days.
Okay.
It's through GFM's launchpad. So you would just go on there. After you stake, you have to wait 7 days before you can unstake and then sell.
Interesting. Okay, and then another question, the second question I had was you had mentioned getting your user base up to like Trojan levels to really, that would really get this flywheel spinning. How do you do that? Like, what are your steps towards doing that? How do you expect to make that happen?
By adding certain utility that we feel the bot still needs. We're working on that right now, and we should have a pretty big announcement next week. And then, aside from that, like I said, the trading leagues I think is going to be what really starts to drive this thing to new levels. Because we're incentivizing, like you're gonna want to come trade on SolCypher if there's a chance of you making thousands of dollars a month for being the best trader or doing the most volume or whatever the point system may be.
Or even like the idea of recognition. I think like getting the idea of being recognized.
That will be more slow, obviously, like just being on a leaderboard and standing and having bragging rights. But yeah, paying out massive cash prizes, I think, is when it comes to leagues, like that's the best way to legitimize your league, is to have a very serious prize pool.
Fair enough. Are there any like platforms you're looking to partner with or integrate with to kind of take some of those users that are already trading maybe and getting them integrated with SolCypher?
Yeah, we're gonna, like, we're looking at building a mechanism where a portion of trading fees you generate will buy back and burn a token of your choice. So that will help us market to specific token communities that already have a cult-like following, and further incentivizing them to use our bots over another bot. So that's one method we have that we're exploring. Other than that, not really, aside from the league. And there is partnerships that we're doing. I can't say too much towards that, but they are strategic partnerships and partnerships that make sense, like that will actually provide a new benefit to SolCypher. We're not creating partnerships just to go and tweet like, "Hey, we got a partnership." Like it would have to be it would
No
have to be
fluff.
the right
strategic.
partnership.
No, I like it. I like it, dude. We see so many people do these stupid partnerships with protocols that have no relation to them. That they'll never
Yeah,
actually work
and it's
together.
like you're just doing this for your chart at that point, which I I do not care about my chart. I barely even look at it, to be honest with you. But I know that what we're building is special, and if we reach our goal, then the chart's going to do what it needs to do on its own. Like I don't stress about it at all. I want to build something cool that people are going to remember.
So, and I got a
As you,
question too. Chill, can I get this out and then you want to segue?
yeah, do your
Cool.
thing.
Yeah, so I've got a question too. I know when I'm trenching, a lot of the times when it's something that just launches, it's happening quick. I don't really have the time to go and send it out into a Telegram group. I'm kind of just buying it and, you know, um, trading it naturally. Would there be a way to, I know you guys have this trading terminal set up. Maybe I take a trade and I just click a button and it auto sends it out as a call. So it's a little different from maybe copy trading, but at the same
So
time, it's still instant.
for guys that don't want to call and would rather just trade, there's going to be a specific league for that, and it's going to track your trades. And the better you do as a trader, the higher you'll go up in the leaderboard. It'll be the same concepts and the same kind of standings where you can get followed and have tips built in from your followers buying what you call. So that's going to be the main league, where the better you trade and the more you trade, the higher you're going to go up in the leaderboard. And that's going to be our league with the biggest grand prize.
Copy. I got you. Chill. You got it.
Yeah, and I was just I was also going to just kind of add this in there. I know that you guys are building out this league. Um, you know, as you guys build this out, if you we would love to, you know, um to be kind of an outlet for you guys if you guys see the value in it. You know, we know from before what the idea that I kind of thought about was, you know, these traders, they might need an outlet, right? Some of these traders, again, these aren't KOLs or grifting guys on chain trying to farm copy traders. What these guys are is they have a system, they have a process, and you know, maybe they'd like to be interviewed, maybe they'd like to be highlighted in some way, especially if they're
Yeah,
like scaling the top of the
100%.
leaderboard.
I'm sure they'd love that.
And I think this would also be a good way of kind of shining light on people who are like verified in terms of their performance, verified in terms of their story and their track record. And you know, this show could be a way of kind of highlighting some of these guys. So if that ever seems like something that you guys would want to kind of collab on, that's definitely
Yeah,
something we'd
I
be
would
open to.
love to. One, I
Definitely.
think shows like this are amazing for the chain. We need more of them. It's there's a lot of noise, and two, I've always said that we need new KOLs in the space because our current KOLs have done it
100%.
dirty for too long. So the trust is not really there with, like, I feel like there's almost a sentiment right now, um, on Solana specifically, where like if you see a KOL that's verified and he's got like 150K followers, I'm not buying anything he's posting, me personally. And I think anybody with a brain or that's been around the space for a while is doing the same right now, because you never know, like one of them could take off, but most of the ones that these guys are getting paid to shill are are not doing um, great things. So I think there's
Yeah.
a negative sentiment in the space around these guys that have been here for a while and that, you know, have done things publicly countless times. Not all. I mean, there's good KOLs out there, but just it's they're hard to find right now. Like,
We gotta highlight the real professionals, man. Too many grifters
Yeah.
taking paid deals and shilling garbage. So
exactly.
Yeah, I think a little bit more accountability from a standpoint of like the info that they're putting out, right? I see a lot of their Instagram and a lot of these guys, and you know, you see the tokens that they're talking about. You know, you start going doing some research on them, and you're like, bro,
It's
like,
hard to onboard normies too in this environment because it's so hostile. Like it's so PvP. They never have a chance from the second they get in.
And that's the other thing as well. I think we've been talking about this on the show recently, you know, where the path that users take to gain a ton of conviction in this space has changed. They used to have to go through Bitcoin, kind of look at crypto as a whole, see it as the future of finance, basically. And then they kind of go down the rabbit hole of, okay, well, ETH is faster. Okay, well, Sol is faster than ETH and can do a lot more. Okay, and then you look into all these different sectors like RWAs, NFTs, DeFi, etc. Whereas now, the way that people come into the space is through like Skibbity Toilet on TikTok, and it just kind of,
yeah,
instead of
It's the
building
problem.
long term, yeah, instead of building long term conviction in the space, now you just kind of come in and all you want to do is make money. And now you're kind of appeasing these grifting KOLs that basically promise you, uh, promise to help you make money when in reality they're just kind of farming you in whatever way they can. So there's the grifting KOLs that have just recently popped up. You know, some who uh, you know, have made their name on Solana and you know, from farming or whatever. And then there are others like the OG KOLs from like 2017 who basically don't have a grip on the space anymore. Like they're not to say that they're washed, but they don't see the space be the same. They're seeing the space the same way they saw it in 2017, when in reality a lot of things are changing. when in reality, not to say, you know, things, you know,
Information is easily available now too, like with AI and everything
yeah,
happening. Like people are prompting AI for things that otherwise would have been a little bit hard for them to grasp previously, because they would still have to, know how to navigate the question on Google properly to get the right answer. But I think information is going to spread a lot easier than it ever has. So that's that's the thing. Like, these people come in, they're not as naive anymore, and especially the people that have been here for a while, like they've seen a lot, so they know better than to just copy any random CA that some KOL posts on Twitter and buy it. That's not the case anymore.
You
yeah.
know, but
There's a lot of, I'll say this one last thing. There's a lot of just like potholes that are in this space now that a lot of people aren't aware of. Like you were mentioning earlier, like some people don't even know what bundles are. So there's a lot of like, you know, uh, a lot of things that people still need to learn, and I think that's basically the purpose of this show. We go through a lot of like tickers and we discuss a lot of projects, even on these interviews. Through the questions that we ask, you know, our listeners and viewers kind of get an idea of how we look at projects top down. Like, what's our approach? You know, how are we how are we filtering out what's bad versus what's good, um, and things of that nature. And I think the things like the KOL League can do that even more so on such a larger scale. And giving these guys a platform to express themselves is also going to be pretty valuable to
Yeah.
the wider audience and push the space in the right direction.
Yeah. And then even new people coming in, they're actually learning from people that they're not just farming their followers. They're actually in the trenches
They've
every
done
day
it.
and finding success.
so
Hmm.
Chill said something that kind of piqued my interest, and Joseph also mentioned alternative markets and other markets as well. Um, like Chill said, there's so much to learn when it comes to trading. But when you think of something like, a lot on the show we've been talking about prediction markets recently, because prediction markets have been hot. Lots of those tokens have been doing well. I wonder if integrating some sort of, because there are people that trade prediction markets and they're probably very consistent and they do well and they make predictions that make money. I wonder if you guys could integrate or implement some sort of prediction market copy trader or perps copy trader or something outside of just on chain spot trading.
I have a buddy that dabbles in that space. We might have to talk to him about something like that.
Hey, dude, if there was someone that I saw that consistently trades perps that most people, or consistently trades prediction markets that most people are overlooking, or I mean, there's definitely an edge there. I would happily follow some of his trades if he's consistent and making money off of it.
Yeah, I think we've danced around the idea because, like I said, there's a few ways that we could do it, but we'll see what happens. I think eventually it's going to come in the space, even if it's not through an integration done with us. But for sure, something to look into. And I think prediction markets are going to be just as big, if not bigger, than meme coins eventually too. So
Well, yeah, we saw some interesting tweets from Chris, founder of another project who does prediction stuff, and he basically suggested that meme coins and prediction markets are going to be one and the same at some point, right? Like if every prediction market had a token tied to it rather than just a market you trade on, one of these different like Kalshi or something, it could ultimately you'd have meme coins tied to all prediction markets in the future. So
yeah,
Which I feel like is a natural fit anyway. I mean, some of these memes are based on uh, some of the bigger some of the bigger events that happen in the world anyway. So we're already correlating meme coins and real world
yeah.
events.
I think
It's only a
meme
natural
coins
fit.
is pretty much already a prediction market in a way. Not all launches on Solana are meme coins, obviously, but yeah, I think maybe or a better user experience for memes might be through prediction markets instead of meme coins.
Well, I've also noticed that a lot of people like are moving that direction as well, like to perps markets and stuff, because a lot of traders end up getting tired of like the trenching of tokens. So like the rugs and the farming. So a lot of people are moving in that direction as well
Yeah, they
too.
might want to. I think in every demographic, there's always going to be a split, but there is definitely people that might want to do perps instead because they're trading, tokens that are more liquid, and they just they want to be able to swing anyways, and they can easily swing something like bonk with leverage, because it doesn't have to move 100 200% with leverage.
Yeah, I think ultimately any market that someone has an edge in that can consistently make money, I'd be interested to follow their trades or follow their calls as long as it's verifiable and provable. So maybe it doesn't have to be limited to just spots. So that's an interesting thought to talk
Yeah,
about.
I
But
actually have a buddy who's actually started in the trenching, and he's moving into the perps, and he's actually doing a lot of strategy analysis where he's feeding chat GPT charts and all this different information, and he's actually getting a pretty good hit rate on his calling of just for Solana. He's just focusing on one coin, and he was telling me about it the other day, and I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. So it's got me kind of interested now to learn more about the whole concept as well, and understand. So I was thinking, I was actually, funny enough, I was telling AD the other day about this. I was like, it'd be cool if we could develop some type of trenching aspect for perps as well, with
Well,
the collars and things of that nature.
we actually we have pre-IPO stocks right now live on SolCypher, so you can actually trade them or buy them and hold them.
I did see that.
And then you touched upon Krish. I actually know Krish, hell of a guy, and what he's building with Polycule is one hell of a project too.
Okay, well maybe maybe a little partnership in the works at some point there. So
Yeah, that's why I said that. But we'll see what happens.
okay, interesting. That'll leave us with some questions. That being said, man, we're coming in on 3.5 hours on this stream, and it was a pleasure having you guys on. Pretty interesting what you're building. We'd love to have you guys leave the audience with any like final thoughts or forward-looking ideas, maybe a roadmap, what's coming next for the people.
All I can say about the roadmap is it's going to be a lot more clear in 2 weeks, even starting next week. But 2 weeks, it'll be a hell of a lot more clear.
Awesome. Joseph,
I was just
anything?
gonna say, hey, thanks for having us on. I want to give some shout outs to some people that actually helped us in the beginning of this whole thing. Funny enough, we knew nothing about a lot of this space, and so Kit Kunt and these guys who came on early to help advise us have been amazing mentors in this space. I know he's already done a bunch of projects himself, and is basically kind of a legend in the space. And also people like 1K Millie, these guys who have like set up crazy meetings for us with different people in the space who we had no clue who they were. So thanks to everybody for helping us day ones, and we're excited to be here, and we're not going to stop building. And again, we've done this without any funding, and we've done it on our own dime, and so we're excited for the future. I'm excited for the future of Solana and what it could be. And so we're definitely here to build and here to stay.
Awesome, guys.
And also, we do have something coming next week from an idea of, when you guys talking about, markets and things of that nature, we might have, something coming next week with perps. Just kind of like
a little tease there. This is what we like to hear.
Yeah.
So keep the eyes peeled. We definitely will. One thing that just came to mind real quick before we wrap up, can you tell us real quick about your just user growth metrics? How has growth been? Do you have an idea on how many users are on the platform now or any of that? Do you want to share?
Good question.
Yeah, there's about 700 users on the platform. Growth was really explosive, I would say, when we first started, because there was a lot of new retail coming in. But recently, the growth hasn't been like it was, let's say, in February or January. But we still grow daily, and the trajectory is up. And I think that's going to change heavily again in the next 2 weeks. So with what we're planning on releasing. But yeah, so far we definitely cover burn rate. So we're profitable, and it's growing daily. So I couldn't ask for more for right now.
I would say just the last thing, like most people when they see this, they think we've been here for a year or more. Like this literally the first 3 months was like literally testing with people that I was in another coin with. So we had like 10, 100, 200 users, and they were just giving us all the bugs. Hey, this thing, fix this thing, do this, do this. So like literally, I would say like in a way, we're only been in this really 3 months of having a full working fledged product of, you know, what we've actually been doing. Because I mean, it's literally been 6 months, and like we built all this already. So I mean, from a standpoint of what we're going to be able to do in the next 6 months, it's going to be crazy.
That's amazing to hear, and it sounds like you guys have a bright future. So thanks for coming on the show. Hopefully we can get you guys back in down the road when you have those Trojan numbers you were kind of talking about and this flywheel spinning, you know, at light speed. And we appreciate your time, guys.
And
All
before
right.
we sign
Yeah.
off, Joseph, I'm actually in Toronto as well, and was going to all those early meetups. So let me know when you're up here. Happy to.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I was actually there for like 8 years. I'm actually in Miami now, but I was up there for like 8 years, you know, going back and forth.
I still live like 3 hours away from Toronto, so next time I'm up, maybe.
Okay. See, look, yo, Toronto. All right. Yeah. I love it. I can draw a circle. I know a lot of towns that are 3 hours away. So.
Windsor, Ontario.
Oh wow, cool, awesome. Yeah, I'm out here. So, all right. Well, if you're ever in the city, let me know.
I will
sure.
for sure. Thank you guys for having us.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
Appreciate you guys for coming on. Take care, guys.
Bye.
All right.